I'm in the customer service business. It just happens to be practicing law.
That mindset drove 25% more signed cases at Cain Law without spending another dollar on ads.
Things started to snowball because clients started referring. You don't have to go out and search for TBI cases. By asking the right question, you will enhance the value of those cases significantly. The next step was...
That's Monty Cain, and this is Personal Injury Mastermind, powered by Rankings.io. I'm Chris Dreyer. Today, Monty reveals how looking closer at clients, at cases, at carriers reshaped his firm, and even changed the rules for every PI lawyer in the country. Let's go. Can you kind of take me through that moment? What clicked? What results did you see from that mindset change?
I'm in the customer service business, is what I feel. That just happens to be practicing law. So we got to put the customers first, and then we put their interests first. You know, I've always had that particular thought. Went out on my own about coming up on 14 years ago. It's just me and one assistant. We're up to 12 attorneys, I think. And then
Gotcha.
I think we have close to 30 staff that are either international or local. Things started to snowball because clients started referring other clients or coming back, having second accidents. And we try to fight for every little penny that we can get.
Once you have the leads, you still got to, market to the clients, because otherwise they're not going to leave you a good review. They're not going to send referrals. So, that everything is marketing aspect.
Absolutely. There's been times over the career where, hey, I needed money. I wanted to settle a case. And, well, it wasn't best for the client to settle this case. So let's keep fighting. It'll just pay you back in dividends. We mine our past clients, and we also have relationships with the clinics that handle personal injury in the state and have a good relationship with them. They send us their employees and also their family members. They're a critical piece to helping our clients, and so we've built that relationship over, the last 20 to 30 years that I've been practicing, and it's been a win-win for the client, for us, and also the clinics. Because Oklahoma's a little bit different, you can't go to a primary care doctor and they'll treat you in Oklahoma. Most of the hospitals own the primary care clinics, and they have rules or policies not to handle a car accident. So that has developed the personal injury clinics that have developed to fill that void. And so we have relationships with them to try to make sure we can get help to our clients that they need.
You have to structure to be able to handle volume on the intake side. So just tell me a little bit, I know your setup and how you think about intake.
We changed our intake a little over a year ago to where we had a dedicated team, and that's made a significant difference of probably 20-25% increase in our signed leads, just without advertising or spending one more dollar than we were before. And if you're going to be a volume firm, that you're going to need a dedicated intake team. We use international people that are bilingual. And then we've added call rail and lead docket. We're very new to those. And so we're trying to, figure out the full circle attribution so we can make better decisions on our spending our marketing dollars. This has given us a lot more data and information that we'll be able to use going forward and make better decisions.
Monty uncovered hidden value most lawyers miss, starting with traumatic brain injuries, buried inside everyday car crash cases.
The TBI space, which, I feel that we were one of the first ones in Oklahoma to really get into that area. And luckily, because I had a commercial motor case that we had a young lady that got rear-ended by a semi going 59 miles an hour. She was broke down on the side of the road, had a 20-month-old baby in the back seat. And both of them suffered, the mild TBIs. And this is 7 or 8 years ago, and I really hadn't run across that. They had all these complaints, and I was like, what do we do with it? So we started reaching out and making connections with different people that had some experience with that, and really kind of opened our eyes and learned that space. And I think have been a leader in Oklahoma with the traumatic brain injury area. And it's really helped change our practice, that and the commercial motor carrier as well. litigation that we do. So
what are some of the different components like in this space? It's just a bit different because people don't know how to think about it.
Yeah, the gaps in treatment have been there for several years. That's getting better. But you don't have to go out and search for additional TBI cases. It's just start asking the question. And a lot of the clients that are coming in have those issues. And unless you're asking the right questions, you don't know it. So I would say after we did this first case that we had, we started asking those questions and we started finding a lot. I'd say 15 to 20% of our car accident cases would have some type of concussion or mild TBI issues. By asking the right question, you will enhance the value of those cases significantly. The next step was, how do you get them treated? And you talked about, gaps in treatment or no treatment. Early on, we were just getting evaluations. That's about all we could do. There wasn't any resources in our area. Over the course of the years, I've really tried to work in our community with some providers to develop that, and it has come a long way. And there's been a few providers that have really stepped up and developed a TBI program that is from A to Z now. So now we're able to get them in and get them treatment. We're still at the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion, on the traumatic brain injuries. And, the technology is changing. You've got the blood testing, you got the eye exams, the balance testing. There's just, obviously the DTI MRI has been around for a minute, but there's, constantly changing in what they get diagnosed. Well, what do we do with them next? And we didn't have any good answers for that for several years. And now that has evolved and we're getting them help and they're getting better. So, and that's obviously the first goal. If they don't get better and they end up with some permanent injuries, then we still have the evaluations that we've done in the past and that we can get them evaluated and also enhance the value of their case by that evaluation. And if we need to go to the DTI MRI to look for objective evidence, because it's always referred to as the invisible injury for years and years. So now you're going to be able to objectively get testing done to support that clinical diagnosis and the client's complaints, even if you've got the objective evidence as well as the clinical diagnosis. If you have some good before and after witnesses, that strengthens your case significantly.
You're part of the trucking academy. These cases are no joke. Talk to me about how you approach these types of cases up that are a whole different animal.
Trucking cases are significantly different, obviously, than just a regular motor vehicle accident. And so, we have a whole checklist of things that we need to do right off the bat, and obviously trying to get an expert out to the scene and do an inspection and make sure we get out letters for preservation of evidence to the carriers, and then also get with the federal motor carrier. We send out a letter to get the past history of the trucking company. I think that's critical. We have, by doing that and getting your OP1, you can find things such as, if they've operated under a different name. We found what we call chameleon carriers by doing that, and changes the value of the cases significantly. So the thing that I try to tell my young attorneys is that, in a car accident case, they're wanting to get all your clients past medical so they can, try to find any prior pre-existing conditions or inconsistencies with what they're claiming. And essentially that's what we're doing with the commercial motor carriers, that we're trying to look under the hood and find out if they've been a good operator or they have a lot of safety issues. We've changed the value on a lot of cases by going after systemic issues within that particular commercial motor carrier. And, if we get a good ruling, the judge allows us to get into a lot of that, and you expose their poor hiring practices, their failure to comply with federal motor carrier safety regulations. The more you can find on them, the more value that drives for your client. We got shut down in federal court before that decision came down, and now we can go in and discover all those past problems that they've had with safety. And the more we discover, I think it drives the value of those cases significantly, and or get great results for our clients that you wouldn't be able to get if we weren't able to go after those in discovery, those specific prior violations and be able to use that as evidence against them at trial.
Monty's fight in Oklahoma courts made it possible for lawyers nationwide to dig into trucking company safety data. That one win reshaped how these cases are tried.
Nationally, it's about split across the country as whether or not you can bring a negligent entrustment claim against a motor carrier. And in Oklahoma, it was unsettled law. If you went to federal court, you lost that issue. State court is mixed bag. And I won that in a state court, district court, and then it got taken up to the Supreme Court. And luckily, we won that issue and had a 9-0 decision in our favor. So now that solidified the law in federal court and state court that now you can bring a individual claim against a commercial motor carrier, which has been game-changing, I think, for a lot of clients across the state, not just for our clients, but other attorneys as well. But now they can bring that particular claim against a motor carrier, and really helps when you have a bad carrier to be able to bring that information out to the public and, try to make our roads safer. And before, all you could do is bring a claim directly against the driver and not for the negligence of the motor carrier for hiring a bad driver or having a bad safety culture. So that was a game changer for us 7-8 years ago when we had that decision come down.
How are you thinking about like the pre-lit versus lit and like letter grade in these cases? Volume lends itself to complexity. If you're just getting referred the big truck case, it's like, okay, that's a letter A. The 80-20 principle, it's like, hey, you might get 80% of your value for the year out of a small percentage of cases. Like, so how do you approach that on the op side?
I'm still playing catch up from when I was transitioning probably from what I would call a mom and pop law practice to a more corporate based type law practice and trying to learn the business of law. So we're constantly setting up new procedures and structure, I think, to try to accommodate that. We are in the process of setting up a non-lit and litigation system. We already had that for our assistants, but we're doing that for the attorneys now. And so the younger attorneys will be in the non-litigation space, but we're partnering them with the more seasoned attorneys on the commercial motor vehicle cases as soon as they come in. So a litigation attorney is going to be on that A graded or whatever star rating that you may have for grading those cases. So they're going to be on that early. The other thing that we're doing is we're having weekly meetings with the staff and going over topics such as how do we initially set up the commercial motor vehicle? What do we need? Why do we need it? Making sure we're not missing anything and trying to educate not only the young attorneys, but also the staff. I think that's helped, our firm grow significantly.
Developing the young attorneys, like that immersion component, I always joke. It's like, you can watch all the YouTube videos and read all the books about shooting a 3-pointer, but unless you start, shooting the threes, you're going to be out of luck. So getting them in, setting by the attorneys, assisting with the case, I think that's the way to do it. What's the vision look like? People talk about these 1, 3, 5, 10 years. Like, what's your vision for the firm of the future?
Since getting involved in organizations like PILMA and some masterminds, you start being more intentional about it. And also, I think the ever-changing space of the legal practice, which I think is going to change significantly over the next 5 years on the consolidation of firms, I think is coming. And so, it's a thing where I think we need to be intentional about our growth, and that's what we plan on. So, we're probably, hoping to grow, double our size and probably 3 to 5 years and continue that growth. And I have 2 or 3 key associates that are all bought in on that and that will be included in that plan going forward. And so we're being aggressive about trying to grow because I think we have to at this point. And I think just what I think is how the legal space is going to be changing in the near future. If you're not growing, then I think that could be a problem for a lot of firms going forward.
I couldn't agree more. Monty, one final question. This has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed our combo. Where can the audience go to connect with you? They have questions or learn more?
Sure. Anybody can email me at Monty, it's MONTY, at Cain Law, that's CAIN LAW OKC for like OklahomaCity.com. And got a shout out to the Thunder as well. The Oklahoma City Thunder won the NBA championship. So that was a lot of fun. And I got to go to a few of those games. And so got to give them a shout out as well. And also they can give us a call, 405-759-7400, or just go to our website as well.
Growth comes from looking closer at your clients, your intake, your cases, your systems. Monty Cain built Cain Law by asking the right questions and refusing to settle for surface-level answers. If you got value from this episode, subscribe to Personal Injury Mastermind for more conversations with the country's top trial lawyers and firm owners, because the strategies that scale firms like Monty's can scale yours too.